Right, I've called this Language Core Programming and the Resolution of Conflict. And I have just received an email from the Minister, Simon Coveney's office, the Minister for Foreign Affairs and Defence, stating that my essay on Language Core Programming and the Resolution of Conflict had been passed to his officials for study. So that is something which is beneficial given the current state. And I was speaking with an advisor this morning, and he said that the Minister for Foreign Affairs and Defence is hell-bent on having the Irish Army, Navy, military join or be in cahoots with NATO. And I say that is incorrect, because Ireland is a neutral nation, and part of our neutrality is that we must respect both sides. We must act as a catalyst to respect both sides in any potential conflict. And sending our Navy out to the middle of the Atlantic, not quite the middle of the Atlantic, is a fool's errand. They already have the information as to how the Irish government should act, and that is that they need to establish a prevention wing of the military. I submitted a paper to on Custom Tour Review 20 years ago, but the Custom Tour Review, the officer in charge, broke Article 1 of the Irish Constitution because he employed an academic who did not understand the Duchess of Ireland, the genius of Ireland, the consciousness of the Irish people. And the academic refused to acknowledge that the research was genuine. The research is very genuine on the efficacy of having transcendental meditation taught to one battalion. That's all, 600 men. One battalion would be more than enough to create coherence and collective consciousness for Ireland, the whole island of Ireland. And we would also train people to have the TM City program, including yogic flying. Now, I understand this may seem different to many people, and my own program, where it is now approaching 40 languages, and that's where we will start. We need to hit 40 languages, because then we will have the richness of language that will allow us to develop the Language Core Programming initiative in such a way that in future conflict can be prevented before it arises. Conflict in language can be prevented before it has the opportunity to arise. Now, I'm going to post the link to the article which describes Language Core Programming and its history, how it was developed, why it was developed, and let's say I'm putting this into the ring at this particular moment in time. And all I say to people is, don't be worried. The government need to act properly. The government as a whole need to recite Article 1 of the Irish Constitution, and the vital piece there is that every political, economic and cultural activity shall be the Duchess, Gnos or Shincher. And I would adapt Duchess differently. I would say according to the consciousness and tradition of our people. And the consciousness of Ireland is against any form of military action. It is against any form of military action. If Ireland sets up a prevention wing of the military, then this prevention wing will act as a catalyst. Why not train peacekeepers in the technologies of consciousness, as well as training them in language core programming? Why not train them in the Transcendental Meditation program, the TM-City program, and yogic flying? Why not? You know, I was looking at a photograph there this morning of a man that I have interacted with on this over the years, David Leffler, and I think it's Dominican Republic. It has disbanded its army in favour. I'm not saying that we should do that. We need to keep both right at this moment in time. We need to keep peacekeeping essentially through aggression, but we also need the catalyst which will bring down the tension. It will release the stress slowly. All of this is related to thermodynamics. There are similar processes in thermodynamics. But none of our politicians have an ability with science and technology. I find that to be an amazing problem within our Dáil, within all of the parties of our Dáil. There might be a few doctors, medical doctors, fine, but they do not have training in the deep level of science which is necessary to prevent conflict in a nuclear age. And that's what we are dealing with. If anything happens in the Ukraine, it will go nuclear. So we need to be very, very careful. And I say to our Minister for Defence, represent the Irish people, not your own right-wing views. Represent the totality of the Irish people, or else get out of office. Now, I have a poem. I'll see if I can find it. Right. The title of this poem is Duality is Important. Duality is important. Duality implies two-ness, an energy to interact, two centres from which movement action begins, also conflict. Perhaps conflict arises from a failure, an inability to integrate two flows of intelligence. Deachas Dúchas could be replaced with Éan Dúchas, the singularity which integrates. Duality is a real perceptual unreality. It does not exist, but its non-existence is hidden by appearance. Often the apparent is stronger. As the impulse of intelligence flow, they assume a diverse character. The singularity of unity is broken, brista, brie, as if to find meaning. Meaningful expression just for the sake of it. When the energies meet, they are unrecognized as one. Further interactions take place, often violent. Unless the source is lively within, then evolution. Cuchulainn and Ferdia were like that, both sides of the same expression, brothers. The closer the duality, often the more abrupt the transition to unreality. More violent transformations. Civil war is callous. True resolution requires vigilance, not avoidance. Soften the apparent reality of duality, allow each side to look through. To interpenetrate while retaining individuality. Two-ness can lead to three-ness in a natural way, a scientific way, a peaceful way.